Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here, coming at you with another video. And today we're going to be talking about loot boxes, microtransactions, and Battlefront 2 all over again. And some of you guys might be wondering, Rurikhan, aren't you about tired of talking about this particular topic? And the very simple answer to that is yes, I am. As a matter of fact, late last night, I was working on two other videos that I want to talk about, specifically SteamWorld Dig 2. I want to talk about Final Fantasy 15 Comrades. I want to talk about a bunch of stuff, a bunch of more interesting things than friggin' loot boxes. But unfortunately, it seems that the news keeps going on with these loot boxes, and specifically an article that I read last night on the CNBC website. I was just like, what? What is this person saying? Like, how? No, this. I was just so disappointed. And the thing about it is, this is the moment. This is the moment where gamers have actually finally stood up for themselves. This is the moment that I've been waiting for. So this is the moment that I'm not going to waste. This is the moment where I will be reporting on pretty much everything that happens with these kinds of issues, because these are issues that I'm particularly pretty upset about. These are issues that are affecting video games that I like. Not just Battlefront 2, but tons of other video games that I like. And what is discussed at this point in time is going to shape video games for times to come, which is why whenever there is anything that is spoken about this particular topic that I feel is incorrect or needs to be addressed, I will be addressing it. And I'm sorry if some people don't like that, but that's just gonna be the way that it is, because like I said, this is the time. This is when gamers are making their stand against this gross and exploitative friggin' market practices and predatory microtransactions. This is the time. So anyways, what is the bit of news that I want to talk about today? So today we're going to be talking about Mr. Evan Wingren. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's actually really simple, but I don't know how to pronounce it. He is a KeyBank Capital Markets analyst. And he talked about Battlefront 2 and its microtransactions last night, and I don't really agree with most of what he had to say. So we're gonna have to see, what did he say? What did this person say, Rurikhan, that made you feel so appalled? You know, what did he say? We're gonna get into that, but before we get into that, I feel like nowadays I kind of need to do a disclaimer like, don't send this person death threats, please. Because it's like, every time someone sends, anytime someone involved in this matter sends somebody else a death threat because of something that they've done in regards to video games, that just makes us look like a bunch of 12-year-olds or schoolyard kids that can't handle their emotions, okay? Death threats aren't helping anyone. As a matter of fact, if anything, they're making everything worse, because then the narrative becomes about, oh, somebody sending death threats to this person, gamers are a bunch of evil people, etc., etc. So just a disclaimer there. Anyway, so what did Mr. Evan Wingren said that I was so upset about? Well, this is a direct quote. Gamers aren't overcharged, they are undercharged. And we're gamers, he said. This saga has been a perfect storm for overreaction, as it involves EA, Star Wars, Reddit, and certain purist gaming journalists / outlets who dislike microtransactions. So see guys, we're all sitting out here protesting over nothing. Over nothing. We're not being overcharged, we're being undercharged. Games are actually a lot cheaper than you imagine. See those $60? Those are actually a lot cheaper. They're actually $30. You just think they're 60, when in reality they're actually 80. Yes, that's right, because even though a lot of people like to discuss in articles how games have games have been $60 since fucking 1999, that's a lie. Because we all know that in recent times, most games, particularly the games that this guy is talking about, because he's talking specifically about the AAA industry, because everything that he says here is in the context of Battlefront 2. So we're talking about the AAA industry. And now you tell me how many games have come out in recent memory that don't have like an $80 something price model that comes with the season pass? Go ahead, tell me, I'll wait. Was that? None? Oh. That means games actually don't cost $60 anymore. They're actually $80. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Because I could have sworn he said that we're being undercharged. There is a context to this undercharge part. We'll get there. That's even funnier. But anyway, one of the next things he says is Wingren noted that there is now a slightly higher probability the title will not hit its 13 million sales unit forecast. A slightly higher probability of failure. Slightly higher, just a little bit. Just a little bit of probability that they're not going to be hitting 13 million sales. That's a serious problem for the gaming industry if a Star Wars game doesn't sell 13 million units, regardless of what it does. So it's almost like, as far as this guy's concerned, if the game was a pile of crap, which it isn't. I've mentioned it, I actually really like Battlefront 2, apart from this predatory microtransaction bullshit. It isn't a bad game, but basically this guy, he doesn't even mention the quality of the game at any point. The quality of the game is just straight up not mentioned. All he's talking about is like, looks like it's not gonna hit 13 million figures. That's gonna be a serious problem for Wall Street. God damn it. You know, that's kind of the way that I look at this guy talking about it. And then he's talking about how he's a gamer. Dude, like, maybe you are a gamer. Maybe you play mobile games. I don't know. Because for you to be defending this type of business model, what it tells to me is that you're probably a mobile gamer. You're probably one of those whales who buys fucking Candy Crush Lives or whatever the hell. So, either way, let's not devolve into personal attacks, which is kind of what I'm doing a little bit here. And I'm not proud of it, but I do need to look at what this guy's saying. So this is where the whole undercharge thing is going to come into play. The Analyst estimated cost per hour for a typical Star Wars Battlefront 2 player. Here we go. Cost per hour. So basically your entertainment is based around in hours now. It doesn't matter the quality. Okay, the quality of the game, that doesn't account for anything. It's all about how many hours can the game keep you entertained. That's like the next segment that I'm going to read you is exactly that. It's like nothing matters about quality. It's all about quantity. How many hours you're going to get out of the game and how much, you know, how much entertainment that is valued at. They're literally, they've developed this thing. They've not developed, they've diluted this thing, which to me is an art form. Okay, video games are a form of art. I take that shit seriously. Some people don't. Some people are just like, video games are just video games. No, video games are a form of art. They're designed to evoke emotion from the people playing them. And a lot of video games do this really well. We've seen a lot of these stories. We've seen people who actually cry during some of the storylines of these video games because they're so good. Okay, myself included. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh no, I'm a tough guy, I never cry. No, I've mentioned multiple times that certain games will actually take me near to tears because of how well their storylines are and how good they can evoke certain emotions on players. Okay, so video games are an art form. You can't just be like fucking spreadsheeting this shit. Okay, that's not how it works. And that's not how anyone should look at video games. And I understand he's an analyst for the financial market. He's all about spreadsheets. So here's his cold cash analysis. He said if a gamer spent $60 for the game and an additional $20 per month for loot microtransaction boxes, so that's $60 for the base game plus $20 per month, almost like an MMO subscription, but let's not even get into that. And played around 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours a day for 1 year, it comes out to roughly 40 cents per hour of entertainment. This compares to an estimated 60 cents to 65 cents per hour for paid television, 80 cents per hour for a movie rental, and more than $3 per hour for a movie watched in a theater, according to the firm's analysis. So now we're comparing video games to TV. Why not compare video games to going to a theme park? Why not compare video games to going to the club? Then you can make your point even better, because going to the club is most definitely going to be more expensive than 1 hour at home playing Battlefront 2. If you want to go that route, why stick to television? I guess it's because television is convenient because you're still at your house while you're doing it. But then again, he compares it with watching a movie at a theater. So he's trying to make the case that you can compare hours spent playing video games with hours spent watching movies, which is ridiculous because we all know these are two distinctly different forms of entertainment, and you can't just mix apples and oranges and say, this apple is 30 cents, this orange is 40. Therefore, the apple is better bang for your buck. Well, it's like, what if I feel like eating oranges? How is the apple still better for me if I want to eat a fucking orange? You know? It's like, oh man, I really want to eat an orange, but that apple's really cheap. I might as well just eat that apple, eat apple every goddamn day. That's not how it works. Entertainment is diverse. There are multiple fields of entertainment, and you can't quantify entertainment on a per hour revenue. Actually, you can, apparently. You can do it. You shouldn't, but you can. Because an hour spending a video game can either be an hour with a really pleasant experience where you're just like enjoying yourself and you're just like really having fun, or it can be an hour of absolute misery. Because I mean, according to him, basically the longer it takes to unlock Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, the better. Because you're getting more value out of your $60. You're getting way more value out of your $60 because it takes you longer. Doesn't matter if those hours that you're spending is just an absolute fucking grind where your brain is melting because you're hating yourself. Doesn't matter. It's time that you're playing the video game. Therefore, you know, if the video game, as a matter of fact, from this analysis, if it takes you 1,000 hours to unlock Luke Skywalker, dude, value is even better. Probably drops down like fucking 10 cents an hour or something. Dude, look at all that value. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. You need to be having fun while you're playing the video game. You know, fun is something that you really should, you really should take fun into account when you're talking about entertainment. You can't just take hours, okay? And by the way, you know, earlier I made fun of when he said gamers aren't overcharged, they're undercharged, and we're gamers. When he says, and we're gamers, and then I look at his analysis here when he's just spreadsheeting this shit down. And it's like, I'm not trying to go into personal attacks, like I said, but I don't believe that you're a gamer. Because a real gamer, I mean, most gamers at least, don't look at a game like, oh man, I'm gonna get like, how is this 40 cents an hour? It's like 5 cents an hour. It's like, do people do that? Because I don't think you should do that. I mean, because for instance, I bought Vanquish full price. At the time, $60. A lot of you guys probably don't even know Vanquish. You have no idea what I'm talking about. This is a game you can finish in about 6 hours. 6 hours. $60, 6 hours. And now you guys might be like, oh, the game's super cheap now. I bet you regret that. No, I don't. Because there were some seriously fucking fun 6 hours that I've had in that video game. That video game was really good. And that is what matters. It doesn't matter if your game is 6 hours, 2 hours, 300 hours. What matters is how much fun do you get out of it? Okay? Which is why your fucking 40 cents analysis is ridiculous. Anyway, then he says, if you take a step back and look at the data, an hour of video game content is still one of the cheapest forms of entertainment. Quantitative analysis shows that video game publishers are actually charging gamers at a relatively inexpensive rate and should probably raise prices. I'm assuming you're still talking about the $60, so the prices have already been raised because, as I discussed earlier in this video, most of the games nowadays are usually sold at $80 if you want to get the full game. Just throwing that out there. Then he goes on to say, despite its inconvenience to the popular press narrative, if you like Star Wars and play video games at an average rate, here it comes, boys. You are far better off skipping the movie and playing the game to get the most bang for your buck. Yeah, let's not even watch the movie. Let's play Battlefront 2. Let's not even watch the movie. You get better bang for your buck. Hell, why even watch movies? Let's play games. You know what I really am curious to know? What does Mickey Mouse think about this? Can you imagine Disney looking at this article and it's like, this motherfucker, the fuck did he just say? Did he just Tell people not to watch our movie and play this game instead. What?
May have helped in the escape.
Anyway, you guys, I'm extremely curious to know what your opinion is on all of this. Personally, I'm just tired. I'm just tired of it, to be completely honest. I wish that someone would actually write a news article, or someone in a position of authority would actually recognize and admit, like, okay guys, we fucked up. You know, we fucked up. They've said it in a way. EA has kind of said we fucked up. But I'm talking like on a grander scale. Like, we fucked up. You guys are not interested in loot boxes and microtransactions and all these predatory practices. We fucked up. Because here's the thing. There is a place for games like those with the microtransactions and all that other bullshit. And that place is here. Here, I'll show you, because I guess a lot of you guys don't fucking get it. It's here. It's on your phone. See? This is where you go and you put your games with your... Oops. With your microtransaction stuff, you put them here. You put them on people's phones, okay? Because that is where they belong, along the rest of all the other trash and shovelware that is out there. That's where your microtransactions and your freemiums and your pay-to-win models, that's where they go, into the phone. But you see, when gamers buy a console, when gamers buy a beefy gaming rig, when gamers make a substantial investment in a piece of hardware that will be mainly used for video games, we don't want to be nickel and dime. We've already made the investment. As a matter of fact, it's interesting that he talks about $60 and all this other thing. It's inexpensive. It's interesting that alongside all of that, he doesn't take into account how much does a console cost? How much does a subscription service cost? Because now you have PSN Plus, you have Xbox Live, soon enough you will have Nintendo's whatever it's called. You have to pay for those services. Sure, on the PC you don't, yet. And then, on top of that, there's also, how much do I pay for internet? How much do I pay for fucking electricity? Oh, none of these things is taken into account into that 40 cents an hour thing that you were talking about. None of it. Only the $60 and the $20 that you put on top, only those are accounted for. None of the other expenditures that we've already made are taken into account. I don't know, it just disappoints me whenever I see people talking about this stuff, because I would actually like to see people talk about it from a different narrative. I would actually like to see people talk about this without calling me a dinosaur, because that's another article that I've read last night saying that basically loot boxes and microtransactions are here to stay, and it's dinosaurs like me that are holding everything back. I guess I'm a fucking dinosaur. At 35 years of age, I'm a dinosaur, okay? I'm one of those guys that says, back in my day. Then they were talking about, do you think your kids are going to be upset about loot boxes and microtransactions? This is from a different article, by the way. This is just like stuff that I was reading last night. And I was thinking to myself, I goddamn hope he is, because I'm gonna teach him about it. I'm gonna teach him how gaming is supposed to be, instead of this fucking pay-to-win garbage that we're getting nowadays. That's what I'm teaching my son. As a matter of fact, I want to teach my son all kinds of things, as how to be a person with free will and think and actually look at stuff instead of being completely addicted to some of these fucked up mechanics that mess with people's brains and just give you dopamine drips at a regular pace, like fucking Skinner boxes and just like complete garbage that we're getting in video games nowadays. Because there are a lot of really good games out there. You see all that money that you were talking about for the hours of entertainment that you're getting and the value per hour? All of that money would be better spent on Neo, on Nier Automata, on Persona 5, on Zelda Breath of the Wild, on Super Mario Odyssey, on Horizon Zero Dawn, and I could keep going on and on and on, because you can call me a dinosaur all you fucking want. The fact of the matter is, there's still a lot of really good games out there that will keep proving people wrong. Hopefully. Hopefully. We'll see if that happens to be the case or not. Hell, even Clicker Heroes, the developers behind Clicker Heroes, grew a conscience. They're like, we just don't feel right with the amount of money people are spending on our video game. This is a free-to-play game. Free-to-play game feels guilty about the amount of money people poured into it. They're getting out of the free-to-play market because just... I can't even talk about this anymore. I mean, if it gets... It's a good thing that they're getting out of the free-to-play market. I'm just saying that the disparities between some of these people, you can clearly see that some people are actually in this for the passion. And then there are other people that are just in this as a business. This whole fucking microtransactions and games as a service and loot box and just like money, money, money. It is important to mention there are certain games that are doing games as a service right, but not a whole lot of them. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't. Personally, I didn't enjoy it because I hate having to report on this kind of stuff. But leave a like if you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you're new here so that you're always notified. Hit the bell icon, all that jazz. Leave me all your feedback. What do you think about all of the issues that were discussed in here in the comment section below? I love reading what you guys have to say about these issues because it does establish kind of like a baseline for me to not feel like a fucking dinosaur. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.